Well, this is it. The final one. The one that ends season 4, and I gotta wait another year until season 5, till, season 5 starts, and I already can't wait till season 5 begins. That is, if there is an announcement for season 5. But anywho, we have the final episode of season 4, which is Rettis Rettis. And that's seriously the name of the episode. And, it's not based off of anything, really. Not the dialogue, not any props or locations or anything, really. It's just Rettis Rettis. So, what happens in the final episode of season 4? Well, everything comes into fruition through these past 11 episodes here, as we see that Ray winds up dreaming of his wife's death. Well, the funeral of his soon-to-be of his wife, and soon we see that the art dealer, which, by the way, her name is Sonia, which, by the way, I do apologize if I did forget her name throughout this whole season. It just makes it a whole lot easier just calling them just basic characters, just to, understand them in some way or another. As we see that, Frank and their team winds up confiscating all of his work, while Ray's binded to work for them, to try to hit up something else, or do something more wiser than what Ray Donovan and his team does for capturing these characters. And of course, what winds up happening is that they meet Anna and they tell Belikov about the new plans for a new art museum and all that. And then what happens afterwards is Ray tells Avi what happened during the situation at hand, and especially since he's got to be stuck in this illegal contract with the FBI. And of course Avi tells what his situation was after he was brutally beaten up by the Russians, and basically kept hostage. So what happens afterwards is that it turns out that later on is that, surprisingly, her whole breast cancer through those 11 episodes, all gone. Yeah, all gone. So, our character that had the dream and what we were worrying about is having the wife be dead, is her what could have been a life-threatening situation is somehow miraculously gone by some stroke of luck and miracle. And that's rare for something like this to happen in real life. And we see that Hector winds up doing his interview, but it turns out that the priest winds up showing up. And yes, it's the priest that I've mentioned a bunch of episodes back, for those that completely forgot that particular character. We see that Abs, later on, wants to split the bet with Mick for the painting with the painting from the first episode, Girl with Guitar. And what happens afterwards is Hector... No, wrong ways. And what happens afterwards is Mick walks into the pawn shop and he walks in with the painting at the pawn shop, but sadly he knows nothing about it since, well, obviously he doesn't know A, what the original artist was, B, where the thing was exhibited, and C, what the origins of the painting were. But the pawn shop owner just gets courteous and sends him off somewhere else to get the painting inspected for shipment info to see if it's the real deal. But seeing how it came off of Sonia's place, you know it's not going to be good. As we see that the priest tells Ray what Hector did throughout everything. What winds up happening is that Hector winds up confessing to him that just after he was gone, you know, the situations throughout the past episodes, and he wants to win the fight instead of, like, doing what they did, what they were originally planning, especially with Belikov, trying to lose the fight just to repay them. So, in that, Ray's got to figure out a way how to take him down his own way. And we see that Bridge winds up heading to New York because she winded up getting accepted into NYU, which is New York University. Which, the more I think about that, would that cross over into Billions all of a sudden? Don't know. I haven't taken a look at a lot of Billions, but it's an alright show. We then see that Terry winds up knowing the truth about the fight and the incident that went on during the, what went on, as we see that Abs was actually listening to the whole thing. And, of course, she gets the lowdown on just about everything, despite the fact that Ray told Terry the whole thing. And what winds up happening is that Ray winds up finding Sonia's body, and winds up finding it deceased, and sadly Ray has to drink his problems away. Which is somewhat what most of Ray's problems are. Usually what washes his problems away. But I don't promote that. We then see that Mick winds up going to the artist, but winds up finding a little something inside the paintings. Drugs. And of course the family winds up knowing about this, and it decides from Ray that they have to go to war for Belikov to finally murder him and send him off to where he belongs, especially for Sonia and the paintings and everything that are stuffed with cocaine and meth and everything, every drug that you could probably think of, except I don't think they said marijuana in this, but I could be wrong on that. So the family winds up loading up and going to the fight, but first Ray has to drop off that little special jacket that he received from the FBI, and especially to tell Barnes to piss off. And since Ray winds up having to capture him his own way. And of course, that's what they do. And the FBI doesn't step in throughout this whole episode up until the finale. So, that's that. So, Bunchy and Mick wind up staying at the house to try and fight off the guys there, as of course the fight between Hector and the Champ winds up beginning. And of course, what happens is they capture Belikov, drive off to somewhere in a desolate place somewhere in Anaheim, California, and shoot him. Oh wait, it's Sokolov. Sorry, ignore the comments on that. I said Belikov. I meant Sokolov. And of course they wind up capturing the other Russian, beating him probably to death. And of course they wind up exposing all the paintings for the drugs that are inside them. And of course, by some luck and coincidence, Barnes winds up stepping into the scene, and of course is set up for capturing him. And in the end, Hector thanks Ray for his help on everything as he goes home, and Ray celebrates the victory with everyone in the Fight Club. And thus ends Season 4 and Ratus Ratus. So, Season 4, I will say that Season 4 I never thought would have a happy ending, especially since the other 3 seasons were like, they ended like this, and they ended like that? But Season 4, surprisingly, was a wonderful surprise for me, especially since the fact that these here episodes were, like, I don't know, these episodes were just gorgeously put together. They were ingeniously well done. They had some good comedy in them, and I just loved the fact that they had some very amazing characters. Just the shame that they couldn't keep Cochran in the episode, or in the rest of the season, but it's always it's always awesome to see the great Lee Stryver in his best role possible. So, at least up until this point, I can't wait to see what Showtime does for Season 5 of Ray Donovan. And, in that opinion, I say, and I will always say this, but between everything, the 8th episode of Season 4, if I recall, it came close to beating Walk This Way as one of my favorites. And just this alone, Season 4 had to be one of my absolute favorites out of the bunch. And I know I quite often don't see a lot of the episodes just because of the stuff I'm on, medication to protect me from seizures and everything. But it's always good to see that a series is actually doing something very ingenious, very wonderful, and just overall, just doing something just completely well done. So, overall, I hope you enjoy these Ray Donovan TV show vlogs. See you guys back when Season 5 winds up getting announced, and I'll do those. But in the matter of time, I might do some movie reviews just to keep the channel running. But I've also considered doing other TV show vlogs. I mean, like, here's a thought. I may be doing stuff like Ash vs. Evil Dead on Starz, and then maybe doing, I don't know, the new HBO series, Westworld. Because you gotta remake a movie, you gotta remake a TV series based on a classic movie, right? So, I'll be taking a look at those two, see what materials are just suitable for those, see if they're suitable for TV show vlog, see if they're suitable for this, or if I'll just stick with the My Little Pony stuff, or just the movie reviews alone. And just keep your pants on for the con vlogs for BronyCan. I am still working on them as we speak, but I'm also doing a little bit of experimentation, especially with extending the convention vlogs longer than I usually do, because when it comes to vlogs, I want to try to see whether or not I can pump these out a little bit faster, so you don't watch these in like 11 to 15 minute parts. I don't know, it's just a little something I'm trying to do. So with that said, I hope you enjoy Season 4. Tell me what your favorite seasons or episodes of this particular TV show are down in the comments, and I'll see you guys for next season of Ray Donovan, or next episode of My Little Pony, or just anything in general on this channel. So, until then, I'm the Phobe Guy, and I'll see you guys next time.